whenever you face some adversity, don't wilt, don't fall down. Adversity is all about how you respond and how you get up. And that's the game of life, not just the game of basketball. It's not been all, sunshines and rainbows for me here at Kansas. That transfer decision was really tough. I think it was even harder than my high school decision, which was, I thought was the hardest decision in my life. Now that, student athletes are getting paid, I feel like there's added pressure to kind of perform. Whereas, when I came in, I was just worried about, using my stipend every month and kind of, figuring out, where the dining hall was and stuff like that.
All right, man. Let's start off with the easy questions. Why don't you tell me about what you're doing heading into March Madness when it relates to educating people about NIL?
Yeah, NIL is very new, even though, when I started college, NIL wasn't a thing my freshman year. We were still with the old ways, but as I've, gone through college, so has NIL gone through, multiple different steps in its, entirety. And like even now, like, when guys get, NIL money, if they get like a five, $10,000 check, they think they got like five, $10,000 to spend. And I'm like, yo, like that's not entirely the case. You have to, pay your taxes. And now being an NIL athlete, you have a different way of filing your taxes and stuff like that. So taxes has been a huge, thing for me to try to educate my teammates because, if you don't, the IRS is a real thing. They're going to come after you. And, that's why partnering with a brand like TurboTax.
You listed some of the challenges that, college athletes face in this era. What are some other challenges that being an athlete in the NIL era, like what you guys face? Like, what would you say? I mean, you've seen it grow over the past 4 years.
Yeah, I would say, other than taxes, I would say, a lot of added pressure. I feel like, it's kind of turned in a sense where athletes in college were kind of considered, free athletes and they were still amateurs. And, I feel like there is a sense of like, they're still kids and stuff like that with NIL. I feel like it's definitely turned college athletes into more professional athletes. And I feel like, we're held to that standard now with the amount of DMs you get, the amount of uh, pressure there is to perform. I think, stuff like that, I feel like has definitely been a difference with NIL. Now that, student athletes are getting paid, I feel like there's added pressure to kind of perform because now that you're, a paid athlete, if you're not doing your job, what are you getting paid for? So I think that added pressure has definitely been something new to the NIL landscape.
Yeah, you guys are definitely more pros than amateurs at this point. Like you said, you entered college basketball, you entered college in 2020, so you've been in college for 5 years. Do you see the difference compared to a player that came in during your time period compared to now, where they're a little bit more savvy when it comes to that, when it comes to business mindset?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got freshmen coming in with NIL agents already and kind of, already a marketing kind of platform and marketing strategy. Whereas, when I came in, I was just worried about, using my stipend every month and kind of, figuring out, where the dining hall was and stuff like that and just trying to worry about playing time. Like it's so different now with college. Now high school athletes have to negotiate NIL deals, and I feel like that has, the majority of the influence on where they're going to college and stuff like that. I feel like the NCAA landscape has totally changed with NIL. I mean, I think partially for the good, partially for the bad, but I think it was something that was, inevitable in college sports.
Yeah, Hunter, before I transition into the Kansas Jayhawks topics, I want to ask you, what's the best advice you can give to a younger student athlete when it comes to NIL?
The best advice I would give to student athletes when it comes to NIL is one, definitely get an NIL agent. They make it, super stress-free, just like TurboTax with their taxes. My NIL agent makes it super stress-free for me. He tells me, where to be, when to be, especially like with posting and everything like that. I can get super intricate and he really helps me out with that. But also I would say just try to keep the main thing at the end of the day. I think, with getting paid and everything like that, it can kind of lead guys astray and kind of get them focused on the wrong things. Focus on what got you there. Stay in the gym or stay, on the field, wherever your sport is, continue to be in the lab and make sure you're keeping the main thing at the end of the day.
Well said, Hunter. I want to ask you now about Kansas. Past couple of years, preseason number ones, but you've gone through some rough patches. What is the key to getting you guys back on track heading into the tournament?
I think the main thing is just continue to play hard and play with passion. You kind of saw that in the Houston game on Saturday, where we lost. We didn't play how we wanted to, but we still played really hard. And I feel like we took a team who's a top three team in the country on the road, to the end, to the final wire. And I think that's something we can build on. Obviously, we can shoot the ball better, we can rebound better, we can take care of the ball better. But playing with that passion, playing with that fight, I feel like will take us a long way. And I think we would have beat a lot of teams in the country on Saturday playing with.
You always want to win, but the past couple of games against ranked opponents, you guys came close. You were within striking distance. You can kind of carry that momentum moving forward, and you have another ranked game on Saturday, at number 24, Arizona, I think. But can you carry that momentum moving forward and take some good from that?
Yeah, that's the great thing about playing in the Big 12. You're going to have enough teams ranked in the top 25 to where you'll be able to pick up quality wins, throughout your schedule. And fortunate for us, we have one more game left at home. And so this is a game that, we should try to rally around and try to build momentum on because, playing at home in Allen Fieldhouse, I think that's the best environment in college basketball, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm biased, but, I've been there enough to see it. And it truly is, a really hard place to win at. The fans do such a good job of showing up and showing out for us. And so hopefully, we can try to build some momentum on Saturday going into the Big 12 tournament, continue that momentum and try to get, some fireworks going for March Madness.
Yeah, Hunter, like I said, I mean, you've been in college for a long time now, 5 years. You had a pretty prolific career at Michigan. What's the biggest thing that you've learned while battling through this adversity since transferring to Kansas?
Yeah, it's not been all, sunshines and rainbows for me here at Kansas. Obviously, we have our ups and our downs. But I think, the main thing for me is, just take the bad and the good, all of it together. You're gonna battle through some adversity in life. I think, everybody saw that Rick Pitino quote, that message that he had at halftime saying, like, whenever you face some adversity, don't wilt, don't fall down. Adversity is all about how you respond and how you get up, and that's the game of life, not just the game of basketball. And I think, Coach Self has done a really good job of, teaching us not only basketball lessons but also life lessons in general. And I think, he creates not only good basketball players but great men in general. And those are some of the things that I'm going to try to take with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I want to ask you, since you brought up Coach Self, he's been there at Kansas for a long time, legendary coach. What's the most notable advice that you've received from him over your 2 years?
Yeah, I would say, the most notable advice that he's given me and most life applicable advice he's given me is, to show up every day. If you're working, the rail jobs or you're whatever you're doing, you're not going to feel great every day going to work. Some days you're going to feel better than others, but you have a job to do. And obviously, what we're trying to apply it to is basketball. Players aren't going to always feel 100%. You're going to feel sore, you're going to have some aches and bruises, but especially now with this NIL landscape where you're getting paid to play essentially, you got to show up to work every day with a great attitude, a great mindset and energy and passion. And that's something that I'll try to take away with me is, whatever you're doing in life, you're getting paid to do a job. You got to come to that job with, passion and energy, regardless of how you're feeling, and complete and fulfill your job.
Yeah, I want to ask you, I mean, obviously it was 2 years ago, but you were the number one player in the transfer portal. You had a lot of schools that were interested in you. What led to your decision of picking the Jayhawks over the other schools?
Yeah, that transfer decision was really tough. I think it was even harder than my high school decision, which was, I thought the hardest decision in my life. But what really sold me was just Coach Self, and I really trusted him with, the rest of my college career. His pedigree and legacy of, taking big men and really developing in them, but also just his pedigree as a winner, I think really led me to Kansas. And I had, thought about it obviously because my college career is winding down, and I don't think I would have traded my experiences here at Kansas for anything. I think the things I learned here, the things I've experienced here, have really, been life lessons and something that I think will propel me into whatever I do after Kansas.